All right, I have 4:15. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Sam Martin, Martha Eldridge,
Here.
and Rick Morgan's here. This afternoon at 3 o'clock, we had a non-public session upstairs under RSA 91A32A, a personnel matter, and under 91A32C, which was a meeting with our tax collector on working out payment arrangements with folks who are delinquent on taxes. I make a motion that we seal the portion of the minutes that dealt with our tax collector and those payment.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
As to the non-public regarding the personnel, we interviewed this afternoon Joe Duchesne, who is our current lieutenant with the police department. He has applied for the soon-to-be vacant position of chief of police. At the end of our interview, we did in fact vote to offer that position to him, and he has accepted. Joe brings a wealth of knowledge. He is a born and bred local boy, one. He's been with the police department 19 years. He worked his way up through the ranks from patrolman to corporal to sergeant to lieutenant, and will be our next chief. And very, very well deserved, and the department will be in good hands. We're doing a luncheon on the 26th, which will be a dual luncheon here. Town employees to say their goodbyes to Chief Jim Eldridge, as well as to welcome on Joe Duchesne as our next chief. So that takes care of that. Public input. Anybody?
Yeah, today we had our delegation meeting, our county delegation meeting. It was 5 hours long, so excuse my brain is a little foggy. This was a meeting to authorize a supplemental appropriation. When people hear supplemental appropriation, they think, oh, our taxes are going up, that they're asking for more money. That's not how it is. An appropriation for extra money that's for items needed after the budget has been approved is a supplemental, but the funds that we appropriated today are going to come out of the fund balance, and that's the amount of money that's left in our accounts at the end. So there's a few $1 million left in there. So whatever we voted on today, the union agreement with the Mountain View community staff and the union agreement for the sheriff's department and dispatch, that money will voted yes on all of it, and that will go through, and that fund will come out of the funds will come out of the fund balance. You were, as a town, I believe last meeting, you were going to issue a letter stating that you were not in favor of having pro-share money, half of it that we get as a county, be sent to the state to an unelected board. It was voted through. I was the only one that voted nay. And I said, and I quote, "The delegation has the fiduciary responsibility to safeguard every dime of money that is appropriated and due to this county. We are responsible for that. How it's spent. And that money, half of that money, and it's going to be, at this point, it's $166,209, is going to be sent to an unelected board who is then going to decide where our money from this county is going to be used elsewhere." I think that was the wrong thing to do. I suppose it was a good thing for them to do this now because it's election season. So it sailed right through.
Wow, that surprises me.
The market adjustment salary increase for non-union staff, it did not go through because many of us on the delegation thought that this appropriation, along with the administrative assistant appropriation for the county, should have been in the budget from last year, and it wouldn't be appropriate to make this a supplemental appropriation. So it's going to have to go on in the next few months. It's going to have to go on to the next year's budget. The two items: the market increase for the non-union nursing staff and the administrative assistant that the county wanted for their business office. So they didn't get either one of those. The $10,000 for the feasibility study for the assisted elderly assisted living study did not pass. So it did not pass for a good reason, is because the free market is already working up in North Conway to build elderly assisted living housing because the market forces. So obviously they did a study because they are going to build it their own. So that's how today went. And the last thing was there was an energy audit done at the county, and they had asked us to authorize funds in an appropriation. It was about $122,000 to start the process of starting to upgrade all the county assets, like the buildings and the boilers and everything else. Because right now, let's say the jail boiler is having major issues. So we want to get on the energy audit. But the delegation felt very uneasy about doing this now at the end of the year. So what we did is we allowed them to go ahead, the commissioners, to go ahead and start the process of putting together all the details for an agreement to have Siemens come in and do this yearly energy upgrade for the county. And there's a lot of things that do need to be upgraded. I mean, you have the heat is actually running in the building, in the county administration building, at the same time as the air conditioning, in order to keep the temperature correct. So Siemens came in and they could use all kinds of controllers and stuff to work through that. Plus there's roof issues, and the building's from 1960, so it needs to be upgraded. So those are the major items today. So most everything passed except for what I voted no for, so I tried my best. And Wakefield agreed with you also about not sending that money to an unelected board, but it wasn't heard. So. And there's also a school board meeting tonight.
And there's a school board meeting tonight. Okay, anything else under public input? If not, we'll start into the red folder. We have the minutes of the Selectmen's work session and non-public session and finance meeting which occurred on Monday, September 10th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting which occurred on Monday, September 10th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have payroll reimbursement request from water and sewer in the amount of $3,545.59. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the check voucher totals, wages and payroll taxes, week ending 9/15 was $43,687.58. We had accounts payable, week ending 9/10 in the amount of $34,268.82. We also dispersed to the three precincts a total of $111,344 even, for a total dispersed last week of $189,300.40. Additionally, we had water and sewer accounts payable, which we tracked separately in the amount of $5,282.78. I make a motion we sign. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Again, these are just the batch totals. There's a multi-tiered review of every bill that comes in long before it gets to this process. We have a timber report and a warrant to authorize the tax collector to collect $747.50. Make a motion to sign it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a second timber report. This is off from Route 28. Authorizes the tax collector to collect $5,158.23. I make a motion we sign. All in favor? Aye. And a timber report. This is off the Calden Farm. And instructs the tax collector to collect $750.76. I make a motion we sign. All in favor?
Aye.
We have a Selectmen's deed. This is for a property which was taken for taxes, and there's a statutory period in which the owner may buy it back. This one has done so. This is for a property located at 69 Duncan Lake Road. And this is the deed which they have paid all of their back taxes and penalties. This is a deed returning the property to them, to those owners. I make a motion we approve it. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We have the Highway Department work log, which is here in the folder if anybody'd like to look at it. We have a contract for use of facilities. This is for Carol's dance team to use.
Miss Carolyn?
Who?
Miss Carolyn?
Miss Carolese.
Miss Carolyn.
Carol's, okay. Use Town Hall. The schedule's been okayed by Craig. Make a motion, we approve it. All in favor? Aye. That was to use it on 9/28. Second one from the same person to use it on 10/16 for an elementary age dance. Schedule's been okayed by Craig. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a contract for use of facilities for Ossipee concerned citizens to use the gym for a penny sale. Schedule's been okayed by Craig. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a notice from the Department of Safety, Office of the Commissioner, and it's a proposed readoption of New Hampshire Administrative Rule SAF-C 5900 regarding emergency medical service rules. And it gives the hearing dates, and it quotes all of the all of the numbers of the rules, but of course not what they say. But it's here in the folder if anybody'd like to look at it. We have a notice from the Department of DES.
They have to redo the water testing.
They have to redo the watering testing on the water system. It showed that there was a positive test for bacteria at one site on our water system and requires us to do retesting. We have a copy of a check which we received from Casella, and this is on plastics. We received $790. We have another contract for use of facilities. This is OCC, on November 30th for the Christmas fair. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a notice of decision. This is on case number 18. This is from the Zoning Board of Adjustment, case number 18-10-D. Ash Fishbine was granted a variance. It's here in the folder if anybody'd like to look at it. We have a mailing from Charter Communications about changes in their programming. This is the letter that we sent an email to the county regarding the transfer of that money back to the state. If it passed, so that's that. We have a copy of a check from Northeast Resource Recovery for scrap metal and glass. And after the hauling fees, we received a check for $887.77. We were notified by the folks at our recycling center that one of our residents, Gil Mastera, has been on his own collecting trash off from Andy Nichols Road, Door Street, Chickville area, and then taking it into the dump to be thrown away. It was suggested, and I thought rightly so, that we ought to send Gil a thank you letter. So I'd asked that Ellen prepare a letter. You know, more people did that. Everybody even cleaned up the area right around their immediate residence. We'd have a lot nicer looking town sometimes. So we'll do that and get that signed next week. We have a water and sewer warrant to authorize the tax collector to collect $1,208.02. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have an application for water use from 56 Main Street. It's for a fire sprinkler system. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That concludes the red folder. Brad, anything new on Duncan Lake Beach?
No, nothing new there. I'm gonna have to jump on that this week.
Okay.
See if we can-
How about 28-171?
Nope, nothing new on that.
See, they've been down there working, they've been down there doing core samples and stuff.
Right, yeah. That tells me they're in the final design phase, getting that ready to go out to bid, so.
Sidewalks.
Sidewalks, have been in communication with DOT. They forwarded over the excavation permit for me to sign. They still haven't sent the maintenance agreement yet. And that last revision we did on the plans were sent into them. They're like most of them, they still want more details, simple things like the signs that go on for the crosswalks, warning people there. We didn't put on it that both sides of the sign posts have the signs on it. We just had on the sign, the side of the approaching traffic. So we have to update that. And they're still not giving us the approval yet for the crosswalk location up there by the intersection of Folsom Road and Main Street. So that being said, and I talked a little bit about it at the safety meeting today, this afternoon, that with the time of the season we're getting to, the fact that I've also had 2 more of my subs that I was waiting for pricing on, said they couldn't bid it, can't take any more work on this year. And if I don't get everything lined up within the next week or so, I'm worried about running out of time and getting into cold weather by the time we get to need to put concrete and pavement down and stuff like that. So I think next week, depending on how this week goes here, we'll probably have a conversation here about whether to postpone or try to push forward with it for this fall. So I'm starting to get some reservations about how it all come together with all of that. So
And I understand that. I guess my only caveat to that is if we run out of time to do the construction this fall, I would want to move forward with bids and contracts to start as absolutely soon as we can in the spring. I mean, whether it's the end of, middle to end of March, whatever it is. But because I think the unfortunate part of it is, and I understand what you're saying about the contractors not being available, because they've all got work. But I also don't want to be in the spring and then be told, well, the contractor's not available to fall. I mean, that's, quite frankly, that's out of the state's playbook, and that's why it's 10 years later and the bridge still isn't across the river.
I think the way to approach it, we can still get all the bids to rebid it this fall to these people, say, okay, we're gonna do it in the spring. So they're gonna wanna fill up their workload for next year early, so we can get them on the books. I agree.
I want it locked into a contract. I don't know, just any thoughts? I mean, we run out of time, we run out of time, I get that, but I mean, that's a,
I'm long enough.
Huh?
Get it going.
well, so I guess
See how this week goes.
I'd be on the phone with them tomorrow morning and say that we are at crunch time. I mean, we need them to fish or cut bait and see if that doesn't spur anything. They ought to understand that, you know, the construction deadlines,
Yeah.
weather is coming.
That was my comment to DOT about two or 3 weeks ago, was that same comment to them, saying, you know, we're running out of time here, so, you know, I need to know, so. And, yeah.
All right, Covered Bridge.
Covered Bridge, same thing, you know, all our documents are in. I did touch base with Hoyle Tanner, I didn't hear back from them yet. They were gonna be working with DOT to find out when they can, you know, say, okay, we're gonna go out to bid with it, and, you know, get it going, get on the rolls on the queue here, so. But first thing they have to do, before they tell us to go out to bid, they have to authorize the funding for that, even though it's all approved, everything, they still have to authorize it, you know, it's just, yeah.
They're not going back, they're not, so nothing is gonna start until 2019.
It's, I still like to hope that it would start this fall. I mean, my comments to them are too, is, you know, we gotta move on this soon, because we got the rivers low right now, we could get some bank work done this fall on it, well, because next spring, you know what that river's like. They're not gonna be able to touch that thing until, you know, summertime to do any of the, you know, restoration of the shoreline there, so. I'm really hoping and pushing them to at least authorize it, get it out to bid, so, you know, if we get a nice fall, you know, they can work into November on that kind of work there and stuff, so might not be able to do concrete work in the abutments, but they can start it, so.
Not bad.
No, I'm always optimistic, you know that by now, so.
You want to buy me dinner? Huh? Okay, anything else, Fred?
I guess also just let you guys know, obviously, as you know, last week we lost one of our wells. Pump went down on well number 2. So we had just one well supplying the whole town till today. We had the company come in today and installed a new electric motor in there. It was all, you know, the impellers were all good. It was the motor that was gone. That happened today. It's probably what was in here. It took all day to get that all in, get it tested, you know, get the chlorination, get the well, you know, shocked and flushed out and everything. So it's in use, and they're up and running. When I was down there at 3:30, they were up and running and, you know, working good. So it's, so we're back online.
Anything more on the automation we talked about upgrading down there?
Not yet. You know, we did look at over while I was in the building down there today. We talked about it. So, you know, there's things we could do with that, the chlorination system and the caustic system in there to make them better. Because they have to, you know, they have to be there manually to fine tune and stuff like that. And I know there's better programs, you know.
We can't be the first one to run into it. I
No.
mean, we had actually talked with him, and I suggested to him that there's got to be a better system that is available so that it doesn't require, I mean, I'm concerned long-term about burning out 2 employees. I mean, when you've got people working 7 days a week, and then if one of them is out sick, that's not a great scenario. There has got to be, in this day and age with the technology that's out there, there's got to be the ability for an alert to go over his smartphone to him if there's an issue that he can then have to go take care of.
Yeah.
But he said the charting that they have to go down there and change every day is the same stuff that was put in when that system was put in 20 years ago. Again, there's got to be a better technology available today which would allow us to, one, to monitor the system maybe even more closely than it is now.
Oh, yeah.
And also give your employees a break so that they can actually have some time off and have a life outside of work
Yeah, they can just look at the phone to see that everything's okay and not physically.
without physically having to come in. I mean, when we had a period of time when Jim was out sick, then it left nobody but Bo, and the only one that had a license. So,
We also have Joe, who's doing our lawn maintenance down there now. We have him going in there, so they're doing every 3rd weekend now. So it's that did help on that part. He likes doing it, he's good with it, so that is working there. But you're right, and actually, Bo has reached out to suppliers, in that field there. We haven't heard back yet on that, but that's one of the things we are talking about.
I'd really like to stay on that, because again, obviously, we just went into budget season, and if it's something that needs to be addressed, then we need to get on. Or we're gonna run out of time. So, okay. Any old business?
Nothing.
New business? Public input, again. Mr. Hool, long time no see,
I know.
you know? Anything?
No, sir.
Just stopped in to visit.
Yes, sir.
Good for you.
Missed us.
What was the location of the bacterial findings for the water source? It was at the water and sewer.
What that does, we have to test so many locations on a regular basis, and it came back on that one, which triggers another round of tests, so.
I have a question on the letter from Spectrum, or whoever owns them.
Yep.
Is that the one that says every TV has to be HD now?
Hold on. I think this is,
It has to be digital, right? You have to have the spot.
yeah. This is beginning, well, the main part of it is beginning on or after October 16th. Charter Spectrum will begin removing the remaining analog channels of our lineup and delivering only higher quality digital signals. Over 90% of Charter customers are already using the digital equipment, set-top boxes, digital adapters, or cable card devices to view the television program. For customers without a Charter Spectrum issued digital equipment, this upgrade will require the installation of a Charter Spectrum set-top box or cable card device on each television.
So they're forcing you to upgrade.
Yes.
I mean, the regular TV, fine, but in the second guest room and all that, that ticks me off.
I think it's a move that you see in many of the cable companies. I'm not defending whether or not it's right, but the analog, everything's going digital. At some point, I think you'll find probably the newer televisions will come out with the technology in them that you won't need that separate box, but for now,
On a dinosaur, I have old TVs.
that is the letter. See if anybody'd like to look at it. Anything else? We're going to be starting our budget reviews. Our first batch of folks are going to be meeting with the Board of Selectmen on October 15th. The Budget Committee will begin reviewing budgets, actual budgets, on October 24th. The Budget Committee meetings are on at 6:30 at the Freight House. Right now, they're scheduled for October 24th, October 30th, November 7th, November 14th, November 15th, November 28th, currently. And they're already meeting on preliminary stuff, but those are the meetings where they will be meeting with actual department heads. Anything else?
Just one thing too, Rick, just to remind everybody, October 6th will be our free opened up day
Right.
for the fall, so everybody know that, remind them of that.
Something we started three years ago now.
4 years ago,
Two,
yeah.
3 years ago. We have a free dump day in May as part of the Earth Day, and we started doing one in
April. Mr. Chairman. Is it April?
It is April.
Is it April? Okay,
Earth Day.
I was thinking of May. 2 or 3 years ago, we started doing one in the fall as well. So that is coming up on October 6th. Encourage people to take advantage of that. It's a great opportunity to get that stuff that you no longer want out of your yard and into where it needs to be at no charge. There are some limitations on certain number of tires, et cetera, et cetera. Those postings will be on our website. They're on the website. And here at Town Hall. And if somebody has more than what is allowed, reach out to Brad or Brewster at the dump, and we'll do everything we can to work with you. The idea is to get that stuff where it belongs. And encourage you to take advantage of it. Anything else? I make a motion, we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.